Alright, welcome everyone. These are going to be my 5 reasons why I think you should try out Brown Dust. This is a video for anyone who is tired of playing these gacha games that are all the exact same shit. They are all, grind heavy games. They all have terrible pay to win mechanics. The developers don't listen to us here in the West, because there's a small subset of players that will pay anyway, so they don't give a shit what we do. So I believe Brown Dust does some things that fix some of these issues, at least in my perspective, especially some of the problems that I have in another game called Epic 7. The first reason, I believe that Brown Dust fully embraces fully automatic gameplay. While it is true that most gacha games, especially in PvE, are very auto-friendly, I think that they're a little bit different. In this specific case, I think that Brown Dust, while being fully automatic, has significantly more depth in terms of gameplay than your average gacha game, at least in my experience. I've played quite a few of them, and all of them have automatic gameplay, other than one of them, which is Fate Grand Order. And other than Fate Grand Order, basically every other game has automatic gameplay. However, even though Brown Dust is automated, you still control everything that has to do with the battle. It fully relies on your knowledge of the game, what the enemy team's characters, or in PvE's case, what the enemy characters do. You can click on them, you can see what they do. You fully choose your own battle order. You choose what characters to use, where to position them. You can, for example, let's say the enemy team has a character that attacks in a straight line, 3 squares, like Mario. So you can counter that by putting a taunt tank in front and then spacing your character or your DPS characters 4 spaces or 3 spaces behind your tank so that they don't get hit when Mario decides to attack your tank. My next reason is definitely going to be the art style. I think the art in this game is fan-fucking-tastic. A famous YouTuber once said, "A hero collector is only as interesting as the heroes you can collect." And I think he's 100% accurate. I believe that this game has some top quality assets. Heroes to collect. And I think that you guys will absolutely love it. Especially certain characters look quite good, if I do say so myself. On to the next reason. I think that this game is probably one of the most free-to-play friendly games that I've ever seen in any gacha games that I've ever played. Now, this does not mean that the rates are good. Don't get me wrong, the rates are not that good. However, before you run away and say, "Oh, rates are bad," that's unfair to free-to-play players. Listen, if anything, having high rates actually makes it easier for whales to get an advantage. People who assume that high rates makes a more free-to-play friendly game simply don't understand how this game works. If you have a 4% rate, that means that I have a higher chance as a whale to get more dupes to +9 and fuck your team up. And even if you're free to play and the rate is high, you're still unlikely to get multiple dupes in those set games. For example, Knight's Chronicle. In Knight's Chronicle, the rate to summon an SSR character is about 4%. And as a free-to-play player in Knight's Chronicle, I barely ever got any dupes. I got a handful of them for some characters only from banner. And other than that, I basically almost never got dupes. And that game is definitely pay to win. Let's not even talk about costumes in that game. But the reason why I say that it is very free-to-play friendly is specifically because skill ups in this game are not something that whales can get by paying money, unless they are whaling to the extent where they can put thousands of dollars down to try and pull off banner units, which is highly unlikely. There's probably only a handful, maybe like 20 to 50 players in the entire game that are probably going to do this. Other than them, ordinary whales, they are limited to the amount of skill books that you can use to skill up. Just like everyone else, there's only so many of them that you can get per month, especially after the early game. My next reason is going to do with the grind. As anyone who's ever played any gacha games know, these games always come down to massive grind fests in late game, particularly grinding, say, runes, or grinding for evolve or promotion, whatever it's called in your specific game. While in this game there is some grind, do keep in mind that most content in this game is heavily streamlined specifically to make it so that you waste as little time as possible in PvE content. To give you an example, in Rune Dungeon, all you have to do is clear as high as you can go, or a specific level, as fast as you can. Clear it in as little turns as possible, and then after that, you don't have to do it automatically. You don't have to be inside of there. All you have to do is hit the auto repeat button right before you go into the battle. It's on the right, it's a little cog, and then it just automatically does it for you however many attempts that you want. You want it to do 85 attempts? Do you have the horseshoes? Perfect. It'll do 85 attempts, and then you could collect your rewards after. Isn't that so much easier than having your game on auto, having to check it every 1.5 minutes, and then having to click continue to do it again, and then continuing to do that every 1.5 minutes? Isn't that so much more convenient? I think it is. My final reason is going to have to do with PvP. Anyone who plays gacha games knows that PvP is the staple of any of these games. No matter how good PvE content is, it always comes down to spending mad time on grinding. But what makes you stay is the amazing PvP combat. Now, the PvP in this game is the bread and butter. There's 3 different types of PvP, each with their own meta because of how the game works. Now, there's 3 different ones, correct? One of them is standard arena. The thing you're probably used to, pick whatever the heck you want, and then you go into a battle. Very simple. But then we also have 2 different types that you might not know of. Some games have them, some games don't. But we have 3 options. Most games only have 2. The second option is something called newbie arena. Something which you might not know what it means. Newbie arena is not an arena for new players. No, it's actually an arena where you're limited to using only 4 stars and 3 stars. And you're limited not only to 4 stars and 3 stars, but 4 stars, you can only have a limited number of them in your whole team of 9. If I'm not mistaken, it is 3. So that means out of your entire team of 9 that you're using in newbie arena, 6 of them have to be 3 stars. Natural 3 stars, not to be mistaken with their actual star level. They have to have been 3 stars originally. This means that there is a significant difference between what you will see in standard arena and newbie arena, which obviously just going off of, common sense from what you've seen in other games, standard arena is going to be mostly natural 5-star units. That's just how it is. However, there are 4 stars that are used in normal arena, but newbie arena is literally only 4 stars and 3 stars. So there's significant variety that you will see inside of there. And in very interesting comps, you can make, very unique teams in there because honestly, every unit in this game is viable in their own way, with very few exceptions. Almost every unit in this game is usable somewhere and to some extent. Now, onto the last type. This is something that people who play Summoner's War might be aware of. This game has something called live PvP. However, live PvP doesn't work in this game like how it does in other games. The reason being because of how the game works. So obviously in live PvP in other games, it's basically like monkey see, monkey do, right? I see that you just use your heal skill to heal your character, and then I can do something to counter that. No. Live PvP in this game is a little different. See, here's how it works. Live PvP in this game basically means that we pick our units live. It's basically similar to that old basketball picking teams in PE class in high school. You pick one, then I pick one, then you pick two, I pick two. Something along those lines. Basically, we get to map out what the other person is using live, and then we could specifically try to counter them. But since it's live, not only can I counter them, but they can counter my counters. And during this entire process, you can move around your entire formation, which means that you can basically change your team up on the fly at any time. But your characters, if I'm not mistaken, stay the same. So once you pick a character inside of there, you're fucked and you have to figure out what to do with it, even if they countered it. Which leads to very, very interesting situations in live PvP. And to be honest, it's just really fun. Because this game's stamina system and sword system for arena is so generous, I believe you get one sword every 5 minutes or so, you can basically PvP nonstop because it probably is going to take you more than 5 minutes to do arenas. And the rewards are very plentiful for any player, especially a free-to-play player. If I'm not mistaken, you could easily get upwards of 6,000 to 10,000 diamonds every single month just from doing your content in the game, which means that you're going to easily do 100 pulls a month, if not more, depending on how much you play the game and how good you are at the game, which is very, very good because that means you're going to be getting multiple 5 stars every single month. Easily. Not only do we have that, but we also have pick tickets in this game. If anyone has ever played Granblue, you are very aware of what pick tickets mean. It basically means that you can pick any 5-star unit that you want out of a specific pool of units. In this case, it's pretty much every unit other than Legends and Octos, which is pretty much every unit other than like 7 or 8 of them. And the same goes for 4 stars. There's a selection 4-star that makes everything so much easier in this game. Having this in the game basically saves people from never getting units because they are just that unlucky. I've been in a very similar situation in other gacha games that I'm playing. For example, in Epic 7, I have yet to pull Angelica, and she would make my life a lot easier inside of Wyvern. But sadly, there's no pick ticket in that game, she's not on the banner, and I just basically have to pray to RNGesus to get her. But in Brown Dust, that is not the case. You can just pick her. That easy. Heck, not only do they have pick tickets, but they give you free pick tickets all the time. So, hopefully, these reasons and my little rant towards the end are enough to get you interested in the game. Because I really think that this game is very good and it's definitely a breath of fresh air compared to other gacha games. However, because it's so unique, I also think that it's going to be a highly niche game, and I'm trying to do my best over here to make guides and help players understand what this game is about, to drive some interest towards this game, because I really think that NeoWiz did a fantastic job on this game. I really do. I'm honestly surprised that they've done this well, considering how little press this game gets. I really do hope that this game blows up and makes the other games like Epic 7, Knights Chronicle, etc. actually change some of their problems in their games that can honestly be very easily fixed. Anyways, if you like this video, feel free to share it to any prospective players that might be interested in playing a new gacha game, or feel free to just like it, maybe subscribe if you're interested in seeing more guides and content of the game. I will likely be giving away some free accounts sometime in the future, especially after I finish doing my own rerolls, because you know I'm going to reroll for some damn good looking characters. Anyways, I'm out. See you guys.